Okay, it's time for the Nailsin ratings to take another look at The Flash, the most recent episode in which a mysterious villain who actually framed Barry Allen's savior in prison for the crime that he's locked up for. But it turns out this guy, of course, has superpowers, and what he likes to do is shrink giant objects into toy size and collect them. So, an entirely brand new skyscraper, he shrinks it down to the size of a pin and puts it in his pocket. So with Elongated Man and Vibe, along with Professor Wells, they head over there to confront the man, and he ends up shrinking Vibe and Elongated Man to doll size, So they got to try to figure that out. And of course, they do, and everything works out in the end. But the interesting thing here is that they've gotten very good at weaving their different stories. They've got quite the ensemble cast. It's The Flash, but there's all these other characters in their stories gain significance and what have you. So, and this amount, they had the two, Vibe and Elongated Man. They're shrunk and they don't want to be, and they handle that. Meanwhile, Wells is getting very irritable and upset because the overall arc of the Thinker is really a challenge to him, because he's supposed to be the big brains of the operation, and this guy is just beating him every which way, and it's really getting to him, and he feels like he should have been able to foresee it or beat this guy at his own game, what have you. And yet, he has it, and Barry's in prison, and now another mistake has happened here where the two guys get shrunk, and then he thinks he can fix it, and he just makes it worse. So he's off his game, and you can see the consequences of that. And I'm sure that's going to be pursued further down the line. But it makes sense with his character, and this sort of, he's a heroic man, but at the same time, there's a bit of arrogance in him that complicates matters, and even and to the point to where really none of it's really his fault as far as what the Thinker did, but his arrogance makes him feel that it is. So, meanwhile, you've got Joe and his new girlfriend, or no, did they get married? Damn, I can't remember. Well, it probably will. But anyway, she's expecting, and all that stuff's going on. Now, suddenly, she has mind-reading powers. She's suddenly a telepath. And so they go through that, and there's, the kind of funny sitcom-y like details of that going through. But at the same time, it's handled subtly, and it doesn't overdo it with the idiot humor. It's just enough to get the chuckle, and you move on for the seriousness of the story and their relationship, and what do you do when one of them can read the other's mind and that sort of thing. And it's handled well, and that's weaved in with the story. Meanwhile, you still get what Barry's doing, and so he wants to help out the guy who saved him, and he does. The whole investigation they're doing for the, again, as I said, the main villain for this episode is the guy who framed Barry's savior in prison. So Barry ends up helping him, and he uses his powers, of course, to, the guy tells him his dream of living in China and this sort of thing. So Barry just breaks him out of prison and dumps him off in China. Which, you can think of all kind of problems, but basically he wanted to help the guy out to, to give him what he believes he deserves and all that. Unfortunately, of course, the camera, the warden had set up special cameras that he didn't know about, and it caught him revealing his powers. And the warden, who always gave the vibe that he was up to no good, and sure enough, he wasn't. So Barry, the cliffhanger, he's now been depowered. They slipped him some drugs, and he's locked away for the next exciting episode. So all this worked out really great. This cast can carry the show. And even when some shows that are weaker, and this one worked out. It's not spectacular, but it was good. It doesn't just throw a bump in the flow of the series overall. And so this was a good one. The only problem was at the end, like I said, the cliffhanger. Barry's captured, and he's taken away, and it turns out the warden's in cahoots with Katie Sackhoff's villainous. And boy, Katie Sackhoff is a competent actress when she's given good material and whatnot. Here, this you would think would work out, but her performance of this character is just bad. So I was kind of hoping we'd seen the last of her. and besides the power level of this villain, it's not that impressive for what they made her. They were building her up into being some super all-powerful, serious villain, and it kind of went flat. But it's kind of sad to see, because normally I'm reluctant to blame an actor for what they're doing because the role's written for them, and that might be the case here. But I've seen her do good work elsewhere. Certainly, of course, Battlestar Galactica. She was wasted in 24 with really bad plotting. It was awful. But here, this is her performance and the character that she's doing here, and I just don't like it at all. It takes me out of the show. It's just, I think it's really bad. So, boy, there's always a downer somewhere, but that's a minor one, at least for this episode in total, because, well, she'll be in the next one, so we'll see how that goes. But not looking good as far as her performance, but that doesn't mean it's a total loss. So pretty good here. Flash remains, I believe, the best of the CW superhero shows, and that has not changed. So there you go. Then after that, we had Black Lightning. Now, the first episode was complete garbage, and don't even bother looking at it because you're wasting your time unless you just got nothing better to do. But the second episode, I just consider that one the first episode because it was 180 better. It was a good episode and handled it well. And this third episode is pretty much in the same vein. They're keeping the same pattern here, which is good. But the only thing is, like, I'm kind of wanting to get more into the action and more of Black Lightning, because each episode there's a long-winded thing where he's still kind of, am I really back yet? I think that's pretty much done. You're back. One of the best things about it is finally his wife, who came across to me as being not very good. I didn't think she was deserving of him because she had demanded he quit. He quits. She still leaves him, and then she's still harassing him and stuff when he really was kind of forced into this anyway. What choice did he have? And but now she's coming around and basically, you're going to be Black Lightning and nothing I can do about it. But she still kind of was pulling here and there about maybe I should take the girls and that sort of thing. She might as well just face it. They need to get back together and step up to her responsibilities as the mother and the wife of this guy that she says she's in love with. So that's what they should do. Meanwhile, this show, again, also weaves their different characters pretty much about as good as The Flash did. And so they still don't have a lot of details about I keep forgetting the name of the guy, but the tailor that builds Black Lightning suit and everything. And I'm assuming at some point we'll get the whole backstory on that guy. And I'm really hoping we'll see some flashbacks to his earlier career too. So they do delve into the lives of the daughters, of course. The older daughter, who's a lesbian, she meets a girl in the library while she's researching mutant powers and whatnot, or mutations in general. Because she's discovering she has superpowers as well. And there's an interesting scene where she's practicing and trying to figure out how to make them work and everything, and she learns, as she's going. And it's really good. She meets this girl in the library. Of course, she's already with a girlfriend, but in my opinion, that girlfriend is about as bad to her as her mother is to her father. And so, she nearly died in the first episode, and she's still giving her crap about, I never get to see you half the time, and all that sort of, like, could you cut her some slack? So that relationship is over, and good riddance. She meets a new girl in the library who had a comic book in her back pocket, and she turns to see her looking at, you looking at my ass? So yes, both. The girl's into cosplay and all this sort of thing, so she invites her to this club where they're going to have a little cosplay get together, what have you. And so she shows up in this Catwoman outfit and all that, and her girlfriend walks in on it, and then she gives her this, "You're Miss Black Lives Matter. Here you are with an Asian." So, almost had a real cat fight there, but no, and then that's it. The relationship's over, and she's gonna, I guess, move on with this new girl and everything. But basically, I'm thinking what they're setting up here is the new girl is into the cosplay thing, so she'll probably make her superhero suit when she finally decides to strike out and fight for justice and all that. So that'll work out when they all come together eventually. So that was cool. And then the younger girl, so they have this little thing. She wants to have sex with her boyfriend, and he has to admit he's still a virgin. And of course he's embarrassed by it and all that stuff. It's all kind of sweet and innocent and everything. But then the girl just announced to her parents she's going to start having sex. And of course they're disturbed. Meanwhile, Jefferson decides to go talk to this young man. And he's trying to put the fear in God in him. So he's like, basically, you hurt my little girl and you're going to pay for it, that kind of thing, trying to protect her. But he goes about it where he's asking him, how do you shower? And so the kid goes through the steps, but he doesn't want to talk about how he cleans his junk. But so then Jefferson's like, you clean your feet before you clean your junk, and you're going to have sex with my daughter? And the kid's like, well, what? But, so it came across really weird, but it was kind of funny. But at the same time, maybe he should have tried a different tack. I understood what he was doing, but... So, anyway, of course, the boyfriend is just an angel, a heart of gold, great guy, Boy Scout, all that. And, of course, I knew sooner or later something horrible was going to happen to him. And sure enough, it does. Either he would die or he gets seriously injured. And it looks like he's been seriously injured. Looks like he'll never walk again, this sort of thing. So we'll see if this girl can mature overnight to be loyal to this young man, and not stray away from him in dealing with this really terrible aspect of his life now. Meanwhile, the villain is still really over the top and everything, but it's a comic book show, so what do you expect? Turns out, once again, Lala wasn't in charge. Tobias seemed to be the mastermind, but now, no, there's Lady Eve. So maybe Tobias' days are numbered already, and then we'll have to find out there's yet another villain. The hierarchy of the crime world of Freeland, the city that Black Lightning runs in. So we get Black Lightning. There was going to be this march by the pastor who was, they would need to, stand together and protest against this 100 gang and all that sort of stuff. And then the 100 gang decides, well, we need to have a sniper shoot some people to send a message. They better be scared or whatever. Which would really be the dumbest thing they could do if this, in real life. But they're dumb criminals, so whatever. It's over the top comic book stuff. Give it a pass, but really, I suppose it could happen that way. Someone would be dumb enough to do something like that. But I mean, the crackdown would be pretty harsh over a gang deciding to just assassinate civilians who all they're doing is doing a march, and then when it's over, it's over. But anyway, Black Lightning, of course, figures out that something terrible is going to happen and he needs to be there. And him and the tailor are working on new devices for him and stuff like that. And he needs to perfect his aim because he's off. And there's... So the guy sets up these holographic images for him to target practice with. And there's civilians, there's a police officer, and then one of them, of course, is a gunman who pulls a gun, and that's the one you want to hit. Well, of course, he keeps hitting the cop. And the guy says, hey, man, you need to focus. And I thought he was going to say, I am focused. No, fortunately, they didn't repeat the first episode. No, he had to learn, and he figured it out, and he got his aim right, and he was able to use it to save the marchers and what have you from the 100 gang. It all worked out. But unfortunately, of course, the boyfriend takes a bullet and all that. So it's all rather sudden, and that's the only criticism here is that there's not enough of Black Lightning in action. You got more of it in the first episode, which I don't like, but these last two, and this one was even less. So hopefully they can ramp that up, and I'm guessing they're building to a big battle and that sort of thing as time goes by. But still, a good show all around. I think if they stay on course with how this is progressing, this show has potential and could survive and become one of the top ones of the CW verse here, and possibly even rival the Flash. So I guess 5 out of 5 stars. Oh, because I was entertained. Yeah, there's nitpicky things here and there in both shows, but I'm recommending it. So 5 out of 5 stars for the Flash and Black Lightning. So I'm glad you visited with me and watched, and I hope you subscribed. And take a gander in the link description for my little stores with little treats for you, not the least of which is my videos for my Poor Man Mystery Science Theater treatment of old movies. You follow the link there. They're dirt cheap, and you can have fun watching movies with me. Also, you can get t-shirts, hats, stickers, artwork, all that good stuff with all my little pictures on them and what have you. So do enjoy, and once again, thank you for watching and listening to my little video effort.